Hey guys, welcome back to the Whole Being series. So today, as you know, as I've said before, I'm starting to bring a lot of guests onto the show. As most of you know, I've been doing solo projects recently when it comes to the actual podcast itself. But I've kind of wanted to just bring in other people that I've been watching on social media or people that I found really interesting. And so this week, a lady that I've actually been a customer of, I've bought some of her products. So please welcome Kathy, Sue, Ann to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello everyone. Hi Warren. Thanks for the invite.
No worries. Right. So let's kind of get into it and just let's start by because obviously before we actually get into that, I know you've mentioned off camera that you have a side, you have a main business, but obviously I want to talk about your side business at the start, and we'll get into that in a minute. Just so everybody knows the flavor of what we're talking about here, your business, your side business. What is it that you actually do? What's your product line?
So my product line is natural organic skincare, ranging from facial care to full body care.
Cool. All right. So now, so let's kind of go back a little bit. Let's just talk about kind of your background, as in what kind of led you into this field. How why you have your own kind of side business, why you actually got into skincare. If you want to just kind of summarize how you kind of got into that.
So I got into skincare through my own skincare needs, really. Um, so I was originally from Jamaica. I moved to Scotland at the age of 9. And just the transition from the warm weather to the cold weather, I just
Mm,
noticed that my skin was a lot drier. And for a long period of time, I would just use like shop bought moisturizers, but they just wouldn't moisturize my skin. It's like within half an hour, my skin would be dry again. Um, and one day it just kind of came to me. I was looking for a new project to kind of put myself into, and it just came to me as like, why not try and make my own body butter?
right.
So I went on a search to find out all the ingredients that's good for your skin. And because I'm not a chemist, I was never looking down the prospect of playing around with ingredients that I didn't have any idea with. So I just thought to myself, like I'd heard about shea butter, coconut oil. So it's things that were just familiar to me culturally, and that I've had experience with using on my skin before through like recipes that have been handed down through the family and so forth. So I guess there was just a drive within me to be like, okay, maybe I can try and make this for myself.
Mm,
So I did that. I started the project, and it took me about 8 months of trial and error with different ingredients, batches, and so forth till I got the right consistency that I was really happy with. Yeah. And I suppose it started with me, and then I started giving it to friends and family, and just got a really positive feedback from there. And they
mm,
all said, you really should share this with other people because it would really help them. And then that kind of inspired me to say, okay, maybe I could turn this into a business.
mm.
And it's been an ongoing process, yes, of learning how to be a businesswoman, learning, all the kind of legal requirements that is required to have a product, and then also finding out what is right for consumers.
Mm.
Because yes, it starts with me, but it's not.
Right. So there's quite a few things there that I just want to touch on then. So what year was that, as in how long have you been running this now?
So I started the project probably 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it was like a hobby,
Mm,
in the beginning, and it's just in the last 2 years I've been more pushing it towards the business aspect of it. Um, yeah. But even then, still at the moment, I still work full time. So
right.
this is my job, and I'm a pediatric nurse, and I love what I do. And I'm really passionate about it. But I'm also very passionate about skincare,
Mm,
and I guess for me, I toy with both ideas because I really enjoy both of them for different reasons. Because they just bring out different parts of my personality, my mindset, and also challenges me in different ways.
right. So
Yeah.
just I want to get back to that in a bit. I just want to stay with the background stuff for a bit when you were talking about this project. So what was it? because obviously you've mentioned that your skin was getting dry within 30 minutes of using other products. What was it about those products that was making your skin dry? Was it just the chemicals in them, or was it just you felt that it wasn't suitable for for your type of skin?
I would say it was probably the ingredients, more than anything, because for me, I was just so surprised, when I did start paying attention to the ingredients
Yeah.
list and just, just being vigilant and just putting into Google, like, what does this mean?
Mm,
What is this ingredient? And, like a lot of it, of course, we know like parabens, a lot of
mm,
them were so carcinogenic, and just toxic for our bodies because, anything that you put on your skin, it is absorbed into your skin and you
mm,
can't determine how much of it is and how much of it isn't, and how much that can actually affect your hormones, especially as women. We use a lot of beauty products on a daily basis, all over, and different types of products, and you think, okay, maybe once in a while it wouldn't cause you that much harm, but if you're thinking over a course of days, weeks, months, years, and that just accumulates within your system,
mm, mm,
you know, just looking at those lists, it frightened me because I was just thinking, you just buy maybe what looks good or what's been marketed to you for dry skin,
mm,
and you don't think any deeper than that. And actually, like, some of the companies are very good at doing this thing called, we call it greenwashing, where they appear very natural. So the product could be very transparent. It looks, they could say only three ingredients, but that just means three natural ingredients amongst a list of, say, 20
mm.
things, and of that is toxic things,
Yeah.
and it's all filled with things for like buffer agents, or to keep the consistency the same, or to keep the product preserved for anything from 10 years and above, because when they make it in such huge batches that they have to then ship it to a warehouse and then ship it out to wherever it is it goes in the world, and then that then goes to somebody's shop or shelf, and it sits there for however many long until it's open for somebody to use.
Mm.
So in their, I suppose in their head they're thinking, well, this is keeping the product safe, but then it kind of stops there because it doesn't then question, is this then safe for us to use on our skin?
I think
You know,
you've brought up so many powerful, valid points, which is obviously so in line with how I think with regards to natural products and stuff for the body. And what I do love also is like hearing you speaking about the fact that you did research and you realized through your own research, not with a bias, but with an unbiased, trying to find a product that was actually natural for you and realizing that, hold on, what are all these chemicals, and then like you said, doing your due diligence and realizing that a lot of these products had side effects, carcinogens, as you just said. And I like the fact that you tied in women and hormones, and this, as you said rightly, things like parabens, sodium lauryl sulfate, all of these sort of things that are massively, and xenoestrogens, things like this that are hormone mimickers that are massively affecting women's health. And what was interesting is what you said about the companies, and they're not invested in wellness; they're invested in profit.
mm,
And I remember hearing the CEO of GlaxoSmithKline saying that the exact same thing. We are not interested in health. We are only interested in profit. So just because if you can expand on some of the ways that a lot of these companies are cutting corners, because obviously your products are not cutting corners. You're trying to give people the purest source of whatever it is. What sort of things are companies doing to kind of cheat the consumers? You mentioned some of it about transparency in their packaging, just so that they can, like, how if someone said to you, right, I want to go and buy something in the shop, what should I avoid if they're not purchasing stuff from from you, if they're in another country? What would you say the key things they need to look out for when it comes to buying products in general to avoid a lot of these toxins that are causing hormone effects and carcinogenics?
I would say like a product that states that it is organic, natural, and I suppose now vegan friendly, and looking for products that are certified,
Right.
to be on the safe side if you don't know your ingredients. Because even to say that like companies can say that a product's natural,
Mm.
and that's natural within the product. So if you want to be on the safer side, if you don't really know about ingredients, go for products that are certified as organic, and you'll see the stamp
Right.
on the product themselves, or
Mm.
vegan certification. But if you do use other natural products and you know what natural ingredients are, you can then just pick up, turn the bottle over, and have a read of it yourself. But I just think it's also as well just finding out what works for you also, because I come across a lot of people that'll say, "Oh, I have sensitive skin," and I would just be like sensitive to what?
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and they just think, like if you were to turn around and look at what you're actually
Mm.
using, you'd be able to find out what that is,
Yeah.
rather than saying sensitive to everything, because even at that, somebody could have a sensitivity to shea butter, cocoa butter, coconut oil, but they have to have used it to work that out for themselves,
Mm. Yeah.
you
Uh,
know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you made it a very good point there because, like, the way you worded it as well, sensitive to what it's true is, are you just sensitive to the chemicals that your body's having to absorb through these products? So it's like, it's true when you say that. What is sensitive skin? Is it because by rights, is it really sensitive or is it just reacting to
Hmm.
carcinogens or toxins that are stored in the products that you keep buying? And as you know, most people are habitual shoppers. They don't
Hmm.
think, they don't look at labels, they don't actually turn things over. They just buy based on preference and smell. Now, just because we're talking about, just because I'm talking about smell right now, just give me your thoughts on this whole idea that the more toxic a product is, the better it smells. Do you know what I mean by that? Like with perfumes, like they basically mask it with perfumes.
Yeah, and also, like, with saying that something's a fragrance, it could mean anything. It doesn't mean that it's naturally derived from a plant or anything. So, like, just to have that on the ingredients is to say that something's fragrance. Like, companies can hide other chemicals under that name,
Yeah.
and I think fragrance for a lot of people is where they have the sensitivity, because that is just an artificial scent that they're trying to create. That's
Mm.
not real. It's just like, even recently for me, like I found out that, most perfumes, it's all just synthetic. Like it's not,
Yeah.
and it's like you pay £100 for like 50 mils, and then people spraying it thinking, oh, this is making me smell so nice.
Mm.
And then again, it's like it's going into your system.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Something that my one of my teachers said that he found that England was one of the countries that had the most toxic smells, and he said, because he said, your liver, as you rightly spoke about with the skin, what a lot of people don't understand is that the skin is the largest organ in the body, and it has to
Mhm.
detoxify everything that goes on the skin. As we always say, if it's on your skin, you're digesting it. So your liver, and like my coach always says, if you can't pronounce the words, your liver won't
Yeah,
like it. Your liver won't like it.
I
So
like that one.
yeah. So now, obviously, we've spoken about a lot of the problems. Just before we get onto the solutionary stuff, obviously with products like your own, what what's one of the most shocking things that you've uncovered with your own research into products, skincare ranges that a lot of people may not be aware of? Something that can kind of wake people up so that they actually start to shop more wisely when it comes to purchasing products such as your own.
I suppose the most frightening thing to me was, yeah, just the list of different carcinogenic agents that they used in products, and I think that was frightening, because like up until 5 years ago, I was that person where I
Mm.
would go into your high street stores,
Yeah.
and I would just go based on, like, oh, it says dry skin, and I would just think, okay, that's me, and that matches what my needs are.
Mm.
And then I think it's such a personal journey that, I feel like you can, of course, tell people about things, and kind of guide them to that. But then I just find that it's a beautiful journey when you take ownership of saying, I want to do this for my own benefit, for my own knowledge,
Mm,
um, to help me,
mm.
you know.
Yeah, empowering.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, empowering people to do that. So I would just say, yeah, just surprised at the list of things that are in skincare products, and as a consumer, just realizing that big companies, like, you're not their point of your health is not their point of interest. Their point of interest is for you to just buy what they're selling, and it just stops there. The more money that they can get out of you, the better. Even just listing things like, separating day and night creams, and
Mm,
it's not really a huge amount of difference in what your skin needs over day or night. And also it depends on, like, is your skin dry or not. So it's then, more feeding into people's fear
mm.
to be like, oh, my skin is aging, I need to fight that. Whereas it's like, no, how about you just look after your skin, hydrate, exercise, you
Yeah,
eat well,
yeah.
because just applying a cream on your face, it's never going to work, because
Mm,
it's it's not meant to, because your inside reflects your outside and
yeah.
vice versa. It's kind of like this idea, if I just take a pill, it'll fix that one thing, but also not think about, oh, what are the other side effects, because your body is whole. So how does that medication just only targets that section without affecting anything else?
Mm,
It's
yeah.
it's that thinking of, okay, you need to think as a whole.
Mm, yeah. Something that I'd said, I shared a post the other day. I was talking about skincare in general, and I was talking about how today you've got so many women that you have so many women today that they have bad skin, and a lot of their bad skin is because they have poor diet and poor lifestyle. And what they do is they see spots coming out of their skin, and they say, "Oh, okay." And then they'll go and get foundation and put foundation on their skin to cover up the spots. But because now their skin is now blocked, there's no breathing space for the skin, and the body's trying to detoxify or purge through the skin. They get more spots because now the body's working harder to try and push those toxins out through the skin. So then they put more foundation on, block up the pores even more, get more spots, and they put more foundation on, rather than actually addressing the problem, which is the inside of the body. So, to your point, there's a term called the iceberg effect. I don't know if you've heard the term before, but the iceberg effect refers to this understanding that whatever you see above the surface, there's far more mess
Mm,
under the surface. And
mm,
what we're seeing in people's skin is a reflection of what's going on inside their body. So, like you said, you don't treat the skin, you treat the person, you treat the health of the body, and all these skincare products that are out there that are promising the earth are
mm,
doing things in a specific way where it's toxifying the body to create the result that they want. So it's just like you said, waking up people's awareness, because studies have shown that the average woman, because obviously women put makeup and eyeliner and all this sort of stuff on their bodies, that by the time they've completed their facial routine, they've absorbed at least 300 different chemicals on their
mm,
skin. That has to be detoxified by their liver. So obviously, if they now add other things to that, like perfumes and hair coloring and dyes and eyeliner, which has lead in it, and arsenic and all these sort of things, it's putting more stress on the body. So then, and now on top of that, they get a lotion, like some of the lotions that you've spoken about, that have toxins in them. Then they're pushing their body over the threshold, and they're going to get ill. So these are a lot of the problems that we've obviously spoken about. Now let's talk about some of the solutions. So obviously, the goal is to lower our stresses. We know that skincare is something that we have to do daily as part of a daily routine of health. Why is it important to moisturize your skin in general?
Yeah, because I suppose, as you're saying, it's like your skin is the largest organ, and it regulates your temperature and everything. And I think especially like your hands and your face, that is constantly exposed to different temperatures. Especially like in the UK, it could be freezing outside. You then go from from walking outside to then sitting in the car with the
Mm,
heater. You then come outside again, then it's cold. Then you go to work, and then you're in this industrial heater place. If
mm,
that's where you work. and then your skin is just constantly having to adjust to these changes,
Yeah.
and without the correct nutrition and skincare, you just think that barrier is constantly on the attack.
Right.
So when it comes to skincare, is it's just a protection. It's just a protection to maintain your skin to be healthy and to be protected from the elements, because if you don't look after your skin, it will just end up being dry. Like, you will get more signs of aging. You'll look more exhausted, and it would just show the same way if you're eating terrible. You'll get spots on your face, and you'll be lethargic, and that will show.
Yeah.
And I just it's a sense of pampering. Just like self-love.
Mm.
Taking that time out for you each day.
Mm. So with
Mm.
regards to skin and people that have obviously, so let's take, obviously diet is a massive contributing factor, as well as lifestyle and people's perceptions of stresses and stuff. So let's take all of that out of the equation, because those are all massive contributing factors. But outside of that, like when it comes to skincare, what sort of things can people do? Because obviously you've mentioned, we haven't really gone into it in detail, but you've mentioned about how specific chemical or commercial products will age the skin. How will natural products such as yours kind of mitigate this aging of the skin, if at all?
Mm. Because with natural products, they penetrate the skin deeper and they work in harmony more with your skin balance, and your skin sebum. Whereas with the chemical-based products, is that you would put it on your face and you would have an automatic reaction that your body would be fighting against something rather than welcoming it in.
Right,
So with any kind of natural product, it protects your skin because there isn't that fight to allow it to penetrate your skin
right.
and do what it needs to do. Yeah.
Right. So just touching on that, because this is interesting. I've not been aware of this. So so the difference is that a lot of these commercial products, they're going on the first layer of the skin, and then the other, like products like yours, are going deeper into the skin.
Different layers of skin. Yeah. So because I use quite rich ingredients, so it's more that you only need a small amount. So it's very concentrate
Mm,
for it to get deep into the pores of your skin,
right.
but also to protect your skin and help to renew the cells.
Right. Okay. So because obviously there's so much, and I find this a lot with people, because I'm going to start talking specifically about some of your products in a sec. I speak to a lot of people about organic food, and people always say, "Well, organic food's too expensive." And I'm like, "Have you ever tried it?" And they're always like, "No." I'm like, "Well, how do you know it's more expensive?" Because it's just a myth. And I always say to them, even with your understanding, like I say to them, "All right, a bag of carrots. You might be able to get like a kilogram of carrots for, let's say, the commercial one might be 85 pence, and then the organic one might be £1.25. And you think, see, it is more expensive, but I always say to them, do you understand nutrient value and nutrient density? And they don't. So I explain to
Mm.
them that studies have shown that there's more nutrient content, more nutrient density in one organic carrot than 40 commercial carrots. So basically,
Wow.
it's actually cheaper to buy organic based on that, because you would eat less. And when you look at studies on obese people are obese not because they're eating organic food. They're obese because they're eating junk. And because they're eating so much junk, they have to eat so much of it in terms of calorific intake, because it's so nutrient dead that the body says there's no food, keep eating. So they eat more and more and more. So invariably, they're spending more money on cheap carcinogenic foods than on natural organic foods. So with that in mind, a lot of people, when they change over to natural organic products, they say, "Oh, it's a bit pricey. I can get this one for
Mm.
50p," when they don't
Yeah.
understand based on the same concept. So
Yeah.
just now, because you spoke about just now about rubbing only a little bit in. So just with that whole mind, that whole thought process, just explain, like, talk about some of your products and the benefits, and with regards to the amount of you that you use and how good it is for the skin and the moisturization and stuff.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you said that about food and with natural or organic products is they do cost more, but it's because the ingredients are 100 times better for you,
Mm,
and because they're so rich, you actually only need a small amount. So, like say to moisturize, of course, it depends on what size your body is, but like I say, two pea sizes, and that could really moisturize your whole
mm,
body
mm,
because you're just having to use a concentrate amount, and you just work it into your skin.
mm,
You know,
right.
and the thing with organic ingredients, you see the difference straight away. You can see the difference, you can feel the difference in your skin, and
Right.
it lasts a long time.
Mm, yeah.
You know,
I I have to
when
say,
you
using your stuff, I was like, you could, like you said, it's a high quality product because, like, if you go to Debenhams or I forget that big shop down West End, Selfridges, Selfridges, or,
definitely,
places like them, you can go and buy these chemical products that are, like you said, £100 or so, and a lot of that is you're paying for the packaging because they've got a beautiful bottle. But as soon as you
yeah,
open it, all you smell is toxins. But so many people are so desensitized because their body doesn't know how to recognize real smells. So all they're doing is they're smelling synthetic chemicals, and because those chemicals elicit a specific response, because obviously these scientists are spending millions upon millions to figure out how to trick the olfactory nerves in the nose, a sense of smell, to make us think that this is natural so that we buy their products. So they're spending millions to do this to only sell you something that's cheap. And then
hmm
you buy it and you think, oh, it's expensive, it's in a nice bottle, this has got to be a high quality product. But like what you're saying, it's actually not. It's actually damaging your body. It's like you're saying, I'd like to spend £100 on destroying my skin. It's pretty much what they're saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So,
and a lot of it's like water based as well, to get that light feel. Whereas,
right.
say, my products are very dense, because they're heavy in butters, heavy in oils, and it is all natural. Um, so it's a very dense product, but it's just a reflection of the rawness of the ingredients that's in it, So anything that is kind of like like white, I would say, and it absorbs into the skin, like it just goes in without you feeling any difference.
Mm,
That to me suggests that there's a lot of chemicals in it, and it's just
that's a red
water.
flag. So that's a red flag.
Mm,
So
yeah.
just touch on that for a moment. Um, Water-based products versus, like you said, your products that would be dense and going back to this whole identity of what people think is correct for them based on their understanding of products that they've previously used. So most people that aren't really into natural products, they've been educated on these lies, and when I suppose when they're buying a product, if it feels light, based on their education, they think, "Oh, cool, this is really good for you because it's really light." But what you're saying is that's actually not good,
Yeah, because with the water, it only penetrates the superficial layer of the skin,
right?
and doesn't actually get deep into the crevices of the skin. So it's almost like, and especially as well, like with your skin, you need to have water, but you also need to have an oil base to seal in the moisture. So it's almost as if like if you're just putting water, it's like just throwing it on a duck's back. It will sit there for a period of time, and within like half an hour or so, like your skin will just go back to what it was. So
Right.
it appears as if it's resolving the issue in the short term, but
Mm,
really it's not.
right. So when someone purchases a product, when should they feel how? Two questions. Once they start going to natural, let's say they're using your products and they've been using commercial stuff, and they're feeling the dryness within 30 minutes, like you just said, from these commercial products. Once they go to some like a product like yours, how long would it be where they notice a change in their skin? Like, and what would that change be? Would it be like plumpness? Would they feel more moisturized? Would they have to moisturize less often?
Yeah, so the skin would feel more supple, softer. It would be more plump, definitely. And in terms of moisturizing, it depends on how dry your skin is,
Mm,
really. How often. they would need to then moisturize, because say somebody who has normal skin, like they could just moisturize once a day. Somebody who's
Yeah.
got dry skin, I'd recommend moisturizing twice a day.
Mm.
And normal skin, like once a day. But also again, when there's this label of also like dry skin, oily combination, all these things, I sometimes think to myself is that, again, trying to put people in boxes under labels to
Right.
see where you fit in. But how I see it is that, like we're always changing, and as women, like when we have our lady time and so forth, the stresses of that, the hormone changes. So like your skin is always adapting to how you're feeling inside, but also what's happening outside, So then
Mm.
I just think it's just more consciously being aware of what your skin needs at that time. It's not that it's always going to be that way.
Right.
People like, I've always got oily skin, I've always got this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Cool. So yeah, I mean, I think that's really important. Like what distinction between the water-based stuff. I think that's so important for people to really grasp because, like most people's understanding is if it rubs in really easily. Because obviously, so many people today are so time-driven. Time is so important, which is why people would put bloody tea in a microwave and save 30 seconds, which is just ridiculous. It's like, what are you going to do in 30 seconds? So it's the same with how they shop for skin products. Okay, I can rub that into my skin in 5 seconds flat. Oh, shea butter, that
Mm.
takes me 25 seconds. Oh my gosh, that's such a palaver. And so it's like a lot of their poor education there is this is quick and easy because most people are so time based that they're not used to this understanding that you need to take time moisturizing your body because definitely when I shifted over to using things like shea butter, one of the first things I found was like your shea butter is completely different. But when I first got into shea butter, because before I was using, I won't say the companies because their stuff's crap. They don't want to sue me. When I was going to the normal hair shops and I was getting the cocoa butter sort of stuff, and that was
Yeah.
quite easy to moisturize. And I started learning more and I was like, okay, let me try some shea butter. And I went and, some of the shea butter can be like rock. And I was
Yeah.
rubbing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it would like take me like 20 minutes to cream my body because I was having to rub it for so long to get it soft enough to kind of rub it in. Your products are
Mm.
completely different. Um, but, like I said, it's this whole education that moisturizing is taking your time, right? You take your time to moisturize your body because it's valuable. It's your skin. If you just want to talk about that for a sec, with taking your time to kind of moisturize and lavish your body in that way.
Yeah, so I just think, like for me, I just think it's important to just take that time out for you in the day. Like, say for me, I moisturize twice a day,
Mm,
and I just think it's definitely the time where you could just like pay attention and just feel your body and just be like, yeah, that feels how it felt before, like that feels good. And just, I suppose, like for me, when you're doing it, it's just like the narrative, like you can say affirming words
mm,
while you're doing it,
yeah.
So you're just, yes, you're, I suppose, topically applying something, but like as you're doing it, you can be like, my skin is beautiful,
Mm,
you know, I'm
yeah.
gonna have a good day today, like, just really affirming yourself, to go into your day in a positive way.
Mm,
It's not slap it on, right? Okay, moisturize, done.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
like just think like thanking that you've got skin and
Mm,
it's here and you can actually moisturize it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like
Yeah.
that. I like that because it ties into this whole idea of conscious eating. You
Mm.
eat your food and you're conscious of it. And I always, there's a saying about human beings versus human doings. And we are human beings, which means being present rather than human doings, always thinking about the next thing to do and always being in this rush. So, yeah, I've not thought about like applying it and actually, applying these affirmations to actually kind of sit within the activity of what you're doing, which is being present, which is cool. I like that. So just because so far, I mean, because you've been so pragmatic and not kind of talking about your actual products, which is so cool. Like, you know, most people are just pushing their products. This one, right? This product does this product does that. But I'm like, no, please talk about your products. Like, so let's talk about your products now. Like, because obviously it's like, you know, we're both in business, so you know that when you're selling your products, you're doing it from a place of love. So you're saying, look, you know, this is a business, but I'm actually doing this as in, like you said, your creation of it was out of love and out of the need to want to give people the gift. And you know, so your products are a gift that you're given. So just you know, tell us about some of your favorite products, the ones that you like, or that your clients say, you know what, this one has been most effective. I know you have products to do with the eyes and stuff. Like, tell me about some of these products.
Yeah. So I suppose the three best sellers are the organic lavender body butter. A lot of people find that really nourishing for their skin, and also finding that it helps them to sleep because the lavender
Mm,
essential oil is very therapeutic. So it's very relaxing. The scent itself is relaxing, and a lot of people just say, after a long day, they get home, they'll have a bath, they'll put it on, and then they just have like just the most sound sleep.
mm,
And I think a lot of people didn't expect it to have that effect on them. They were just thinking,
right.
oh,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a moisturizer or the scent of lavender. But because it's not a fragrance lavender, it's actually lavender essential oil, then it has that beneficial property of it as well.
Touch on that for a
Um,
second. Just because some of the things that you're saying are so profound, but you kind of just yeah, you know, just like almost like throwaway comments. Like this stuff is that's why I'm kind of pulling you back a little bit. This is really really cool because obviously it's your product, so you just see it as standard now. This is what we're supposed to do. But I know that is important. Like you said, the difference between a fragrance and actually having the oil in it. So just before you get onto that, there's so much benefit to things such as flower essences and essential oils. And all oils and flower essences have a frequency, and all frequencies induce either an excited state or a state of calm. So and again, when I say this, I'm saying this to the people listening, everything in creation has a vibration, and the vibrations either make you feel at ease or they make you feel agitated. So the fact that you're saying you've made a statement about you actually have oils in your butter as opposed to just fragrance, that's kind of separate from what a lot of companies have. They have fragrance as opposed to oil. So I just wanted to kind of slow that down for a second, kind of highlight why that's so beneficial. So it makes sense as to what you said about the effect that the oil is. So basically, you're giving someone an essential oil and a butter at the same time, right?
mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I think as well, it's like with lavender, for example, if you go to a place where it has mosquitoes, like you can use it as a mosquito repellent as well, because mosquitoes don't like lavender. I'm not
Okay.
sure why,
Cool.
but they don't. So, and also as well, if you're sunburnt, it has like aloe vera in it. So again, to just rehydrate the skin and then protect it to help it replenish.
Mm,
Because I suppose like all the products that I've created, it is I suppose it's just trying to put in as much goodness into it
mm,
as I can,
yeah.
for it to be like really beneficial for you to use all over.
Mm,
So I would say definitely lavender body butter is a good seller. And you'd mentioned about the eye balm.
mm-hmm.
So that's one where I developed that product because I used to do a lot of shift work,
Right.
so night shift, day shift, and yeah, it just stemmed from, just not wanting to have dark circles or puffy eyes. And then I just started researching, ingredients to combat that. And within that, there's frankincense and carrot seed essential oil,
Mm,
which are known to tighten up the skin, and make it more plump.
mm, right.
Yeah, so that's a good seller.
Mm.
And then another good seller is the facial oil that has rosehip oil in it
Oh,
and
okay,
jojoba
cool.
oil.
Right.
Yeah,
Rose hip is I'm just trying to think if it's rose hip or rosewood. I know one of them is really good for scarring as well. Really good to get rid of scars. I
yeah.
can't remember if it's rose hip or rosewood.
Yeah, rosehip is good for scarring, dryness, and as you get older, the collagen in your skin decreases, so it helps to the skin to appear plumper,
Right.
and combats any kind of dry patches if you have those, yeah, and just general moisture.
Right. And there's something I'm just thinking about right now as well, just based on some of the stuff that you said. Going back to something we said earlier about a lot of these companies are manipulating people's understanding of what's good for them, and they're finding ways, like I said earlier, spending literally, not exaggerating, spending millions to
Mm,
fool the public. And then you have people like yourself that are actually trying to find a way to serve humanity by delivering products that are actually really good for them. It's kind of just sad when you see the majority of the planet are buying things that are actually bad for them because of the power of marketing, versus what you're doing,
mm,
which is trying to find ways to infuse these products with health benefits. Because you could just make a shea butter and just make it smell nice and sell it, but you're actually trying to
yes.
find ways to make it healthy as well. So, because my next question was going to be what sets you apart, but I think you really started establishing what kind of sets your products apart, which is some of the stuff, the health benefits. So if you want to just elaborate on that or expand a bit more on what sets your products apart.
Yes, I would say what sets my product apart is the combination of the ingredients that I'm using. And also it's the beneficial factor of it is there to protect your skin, keep your skin looking fresh, keep your skin looking healthy and glowing. And the essential oils that I use within the products is for their therapeutic properties. So you're not just getting a product that moisturizes, it would be moisturizing. And if it's, say, grapefruit or sweet orange, I would use that one in the morning because that's uplifting. You wake up in the morning and you want a little pep in your step. Or the lavender is more for like at night time if you want to relax. And then say like rose hip or like ylang ylang again is an
Mm,
uplifting, so
yeah.
relaxing scent. So it's also as you're applying these things, it is nourishing your face, but also your senses.
Mm, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, no, ylang I do love that. And like I said, I've obviously I don't even know how I found you online. Um, but I remember I got some of your products, and I've used loads of different types of shea butters. Yours and another product, can't remember the name of it, are the absolute best I've ever tried. And you could, like you say, you could feel the quality of the products, and oh my gosh, the smells are incredible. But when something tastes, it's like it smells so good, it tastes that you could almost like taste it. I think
mm,
that's very important. So just switching gears, talking more about business and being a business mogul as you are. One of the things I always like to talk to people about, and something I talk to my clients about as well, is this whole understanding that, especially in the Western world today, we know that 95% of people, not even higher than that, like 96, 97% of people in the Western world that are working in a job, they pretty much are working in a job that they didn't get an education in. So whatever their degree is, most people don't actually fulfill that degree in a career. So they spend a good chunk of their life studying and then working in something completely different. And what we found is studies have shown that most heart attacks in the Western world take place between 8 and 9 a.m. on Monday morning. Now, a lot of this ties into the understanding that most people are starting the week that they hate because most people hate what they do. They just happen to be either good at it or it just pays the bills. So we know most people are unhappy, so that raises a lot of people's levels of stress. So just because obviously you talk about your pediatric nurse work and you were kind of touching on that at the start, as well as your side business. I think it's so important to not have work or to have career, but to actually have passion, something that you
mm.
love doing. Because as you know that saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
So, what's for you the importance of loving what you do with your career?
I think for me is your choice, and I think from choosing to be a pediatric nurse, and then even when I think about my skincare products, is that I feel like I'm a healer,
Right.
and what I'm doing, it comes through my hands and the way that I am with people, how I make my products. So, the intention is always there to make a situation better, no matter
Mm,
how bleak it might seem. Is that I know intentionally, like that's what my drive is.
mm,
And yes, as a nurse, like that is my career, but I love what I do. And I know. yeah, it could just be a job if you want something to be a job. But for me, it's definitely not that because I know the intention that I bring to it and the impact that I want to have in what I do. So it's not a job. It's
Yeah.
it's more a calling within that.
Mm,
And I suppose it's just with the skincare, that just that for me just kind of came out of nowhere.
mm,
Um, and it's been an interesting journey and learning, just even when I was trying to get the formula right for it, and it was just wrong, months and months of getting it wrong. But there was just this passion of like
mm.
just keep going, and it wasn't anyone that was directing me or whatever. It was just something inside that was just like, just keep at this, just keep at this. And it just keeps unfolding. And, it's the more energy you put into something, the more you'll get back out of it, and just even understanding as simple as that is so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also learning, like as a nurse, you're just always thinking about other people and caring. You're just caring. So then it was, a mindset of then switching to be like, okay, as a business, how can you still be caring, but you have to have a business mind,
Yeah. Yeah.
at the same time,
Yeah.
and how does that work out?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but ultimately, I just think in anything that we are doing is just to constantly get to a place of find something that you're passionate about. Maybe you might be in a job that you don't really like, but you have another idea that, you think, oh, I'd love to be a drummer or a guitarist or, make hot sauce. I don't know. But I think it's just really allowing yourself to just even explore that side and
Mm.
see where that passion takes you, not just say like, oh, that's just me. I just have to work and that's it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I said to you before I couldn't hear the washing machine. I think I can hear it a lot now. It sounds like it sounds like a teapot or something. So just all of you people that are listening to this on the audio, if you hear something whistling in the background, that's the washing machine. So Kathy let me know about that at the start. So just
Sorry
apologies
about that.
if that was distracting you guys. All right, so let's talk a little bit about black women and hair care, because that's the thing that obviously out of all of the peoples on the planet, the greatest challenge when it comes to hair care, and this is only because it's not marketed as well and there's not as much emphasis globally, is black women when it comes to hair care. So what? So I was I was saying to you before when we went on live was just obviously there's a massive growth in a lot of black women that are going natural now. What do you think is the driver for that? Is it because there's more people like yourself out there that are having products, or is it like an awakening in their consciousness? What do you think is bringing this about?
I think is an awakening in the consciousness, and then through that, then women have then decided, okay, we need to make products that are suited to our hair type, because you have different textures of curly hair, and realizing, we've somewhat been conditioned to to believe that straight hair is the best hair.
Right. Yeah.
And even for me, I used to relax my hair like 5 years ago. So relaxing just means that I would chemically straighten it.
Mm.
Um, and then I just know my hair was getting really thin. I was starting to have bald patches, and I was just like, this is not good, And even when I started, when I'd cut my hair really short and started to grow it again, my mum, even for her, she was just like, when are you going to straighten your hair? And I was like, Mom, I'm not going back,
Right.
But even for her, like she still straightens her hair now, because in our mindset, like straight hair is neater, you see more put together, um, and easier to manage,
Mm.
you know.
Right.
But I just think when you transition to like curly hair, it's a rediscovery into yourself and relearning how to to love yourself as you are, and then then finding products that work with that, because again, like even for my hair, I can only talk from my experiences that even within my hair, different parts of it has different textures,
Right. Yeah.
and then also having to learn how to look after curly hair.
Right.
Um, yeah, that my mum didn't really know how to do that because she always had straight hair, so.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big gap where, you know, maybe there is a lot of women who want to go natural but just don't know how to transition to that. And
Mm.
then just the thought of, okay, well, if I don't know how, um, and it seems like a lot of hard work, I'll just stay where I am.
Mm. And why do you think? Because I mean, obviously, we're talking about black women right now, and some people are on this. Well, it's got nothing to do with me because I'm Chinese or whatever. But obviously, what we're talking about is health in general. So you don't really get other races that relax their hair, which is why we're talking about this. It only really affects the black race, where they're really relaxing their hair. And what if you know any of some of the effects of relaxing your hair? Do you know like what sort of thing? What's bad about relaxing your hair from a health point of view in general?
So again, it's the same kind of toxin. It's just the damage as well that it does to your scalp. Some of it is irreversible damage because
Right.
uh, the peroxide that they use in it, and you can smell it. As
Mm.
soon as you put the activator in, just smell alone, it could burn off your nose hair. It's that kind of pungent smell.
Mm.
So you know straight away it's not good for you. But
Right.
we would apply this on our hair every 6 to 8 weeks,
Right.
just on the roots.
Mm.
And what it does, it just literally strips your hair of any life,
Mm.
because when you have curly hair, coily hair, it's just full of life and it's just strong,
Mm.
you know. Then to get it so it's straight, so it just strips the hair of any kind of nutrients, and then you are left with straight hair, but it's kind of straight, limp, dead hair in the
Right.
sense of like you then have to repack it with like deep conditioner, and you have to then wrap your hair every night.
Mm.
Um, and it's an ongoing process, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Right. So, switching gears again because off camera I was like, "Yep, these are loads of different questions." Kathy was like, "Okay, right, okay." So we're going to switch gears again. Right. So, what's the just thinking about the female's role in society? The way as I was saying to the way the world is today is obviously a very masculine world. And like I was saying to you, there's this term called Russian woman syndrome, which basically relates to a lot of women that are almost masculinizing themselves to match the output that a lot of these masculine men are doing, because in the yang aspect is masculine and the yin aspect is feminine, but yang is more about breaking things down. So the male identity is to chop down trees, and then the woman gets the trees as an example and builds a house. Like that's the nurturing element of the woman. And but you see nowadays there's a lot of women that they're not interested in having children. Their child is their business, and they've almost become very masculinized. A good example is someone like Margaret Thatcher, who was like almost the ultimate example of a very, very masculine type of woman. What I find with a lot of my work is a lot of women that I work with find it very hard to feminize themselves, to nurture themselves in any particular way. They're so driven to just succeed because they're matching the male identity or ethos, which we're not talking about working and making as much money as men. What we're talking about is the activities and actions that women are starting to impart that is very masculine, very masculinized type of people. Whereas women are naturally quite nurturing, growth-based people. What do you think about the idea of a lot of women nowadays that are kind of doing that are not spending time in self-care because they're so focused on just conquering the world and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think there's definitely that drive there, but I think it's almost like in survival mode of feeling like this is what is needed for me to get to where I need to get to.
Mm.
And when I get to there, then I can be nourishing, and then I can do these things.
Yeah.
Um, and
Mm.
I just think like as well, like society breeds that, it's like I live in London, and there is a definite competitive energy, there's a beautiful energy that people come to London because there's a certain magic here. If you're coming here, because you're expecting big things,
Mm, mm,
so I think like even just in the city, it drives that energy of like competitiveness. And yeah, maybe women feel that you have to be that, like wear that mask and be that person for people to take you seriously or to respect you, because you might be in a very male dominant organization.
mm. Yeah.
Usually like the top people are men.
Mm,
You might not always see them, but when it comes to the last decision of, like say a nurse specialist going for a position, it would probably be the consultant that would have the last say, and generally consultants tend to be male,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
So, with regards to like this whole idea of nurturing males or females now, but let's just touch on females for a moment before we get into specifics, like asking you about your own personal morning routines and stuff. What sort of practices do you think women need to have or add into their life so that they maintain this nurturing of self care and mothering and self time and feminine? What sort of things would you suggest women need to start adding in to maintain this feminine power?
Mm, I would say meditating, and just really sitting with yourself and asking yourself, like, how do I feel? Like, does this make me feel happy? You know, and having the thought about where is this where I really see myself, and really asking yourself, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I feel that this is what other people expect of me, how other people want me to be, or this is me being my my authentic self?
Mm,
It's like, yeah, you can go out there and put on the mask for everyone, but then when you come home, like, how do you feel about you?
mm,
Because you have to live with you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I think just asking yourself, like, how do you feel?
mm, yeah,
And just writing down what that is, it probably feels really strange to begin with, because it's like, what do you mean, how do I feel? But
mm,
it would probably be of interest just to do it for 7 days, just to see what comes out.
yeah. Yeah, like we said, so many people are in such a rush they don't take the time, and suicides in general are the highest amongst men nowadays, than women, and a lot of that is because women typically are more open about their feelings. They cry more, they empathize more, they feel more, whereas men typically suppress this whole sense of feel. And because of that, they don't talk to people. You don't see two burly guys like, yeah, Tom, man, I really want to have a good cry. Can I have a hug? Yeah, all right. They don't do that because they see that as weakness. Whereas most women that are quite feminine will, hug another woman and have a cry, and they'll have that connection, they'll have that empathy, and they'll have that ability to be able to feel. And a lot of these women that are very masculinized, they're pushing that away to like what you were saying, just do and not actually spend the time in self-reflection, such as what you just said, writing down in a journal how they feel, really reacquainting themselves with their feelings. We are so focused on the survival mentality, that we suppress everything because the human brain is built to survive, and the only way you can do so is to compartmentalize all your thoughts and just continue with tomorrow, which is a bad thing. So what you said is important, and spending time just being with yourself and being aware of your thoughts, writing things down seems simple, but most of the simplest things are the most powerful things.
Mm.
Yeah. So, a couple more questions. So let's talk about your morning ritual. What sort of things do you do? Like, do you have a spiritual practice? Is it tied into your morning ritual? What do you do?
So of late, I have been doing yoga for about 30 minutes each morning, and then I follow that up with about a 10 to 20-minute meditation.
Cool.
And that's kind of been my spiritual practice of late. Yeah, and I think it's just getting into a space of just, like just not engaging with thoughts. you know, because it's always the mind is always going, 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 feeling like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Um, and just realizing actually how hard it is to just be still,
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
you know. Yeah, yeah, and just be still with yourself and whatever comes to your mind, and
Mm,
just acknowledge, be like, okay, that's fine. And and just random things would just come into your head. You're like, where did that even come from?
mm,
But it just shows that sometimes we're just in overdrive,
mm,
that it's just like it might come, but you just box it aside. Whereas like in the stillness, yeah, it comes there, but when you constantly choose to be like, oh, that's interesting,
mm,
thanks for bringing that to my attention, and you then allow yourself to just go, like for me, it just allows me to kind of go into my day with more peace of mind.
yeah, yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And what's my next? Yeah, so how in your view, how has skincare changed in the last like 10, 15 years? What's been the change?
Has definitely been the consciousness, just definitely, like even in the last, like, I would say 2 years, just the change towards more natural and organic skincare, and even bigger companies now,
Mm,
just you see them mentioning natural ingredients
yeah,
and selling it really well. Um, so definitely there's a more conscious nature where people want to use organic products, want natural products, which I feel like the market was there before, but I think just people didn't really understand that like products had so much bad things in
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The public is very trusting. Most people think if it's on TV, it's good.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember my teacher said that the more money they spend marketing it, the worse it is for you.
Mm,
Because they have to
yeah.
spend so much time marketing it because it's so bad.
Yeah. But then that's the thing, then they have the money to do it,
Yeah.
and then it then appears like, oh my gosh, like they're here and I recognize them, so they must be good. This is
Mm,
what everyone else is
mm,
using, so I need to
yeah.
get on board with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, final question. What's the direction? Any exciting new projects or any exciting new products coming out from your range?
So I want to have like a full complete face range. And also recently I've been kind of playing with the idea of going into the hair aspect of it, and
I
even
was
like,
just gonna say that because I remember you sent me an email about, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 months ago, about saying, oh, do I have any suggestions? Not just me, but I think you sent it out to a few people, suggestions of hair care. So sorry.
yeah, and even like beard oils and things like that. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, because there's definitely a need for it. There is. Yeah. So just thinking of ideas of tying it all in together.
right. So you're saying so a whole
Yeah.
facial range?
Face cream. Yeah, so like to a face wash, to then a toner, to moisturizer, then the facial oil, like a facial scrub, so like a complete
Mm,
kind of pamper
wow.
kit.
Wow.
Um, and then hair care range. Yeah.
Wow. So is this something that you're playing around with the idea of, or you're actually actively working on figuring out if you can actually do this
Um,
stuff?
playing with the ideas, and I think just having to be decisive about who is it that I'm creating it for, so
Yeah.
really asking people what is that they want, because
Mm.
Um, it's not for me. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
so you have to do like diligent work to find out what
Mm,
what people's pain points are, and how I can help them.
mm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So maybe late 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, look forward
Can
to
have face wash, scrub.
it. Cool. All right. So before we let you go, just let everybody know where they can contact you, your website for your company, your social media.
Okay, so you can find me online at Kathy Suans. www.kathysuans.co.uk. On Instagram is Kathy Suans, and Kathy Suan is spelled KathySueanS.
Cool. Fantastic. So thank you very much. Hopefully, I'm going to get you back on the show. We'll talk about, because you've provoked some other questions I have in my mind. So, but we'll be here all day if I'll end it. So, definitely want to get you back on. And for those of you who are listening, this is Kathy Suan's very first podcast. So glad to kind of get her on for the first one. Yeah, we'll get you back on and do some more stuff. So, yeah, thanks very much. So I think
All right,
everybody
thanks.
else, remember Whole Being series, check it out on iTunes and all the other apps. Peace and love.